Well, it seems we have a few points of mutual interest to discuss, huh? Such as that check for 87 million francs. Money which was partly supplied by the French Secret Service through its agent, our little friend Valerie. Yes. Valerie Maris, agent of the Deuxième Bureau, huh? Oh, I only found that out today. Of course, you would have died at once, but I thought I hold the thread of your life over this American. Not that he seemed to care. He still put his job first.
There we go. How you doing, everybody? Welcome back again for another episode of Kinescope. And as you just saw, we today are discussing Casino Royale from October 21st, 1954, an episode of Climax on the CBS network, the first adaptation of James Bond, or of course, in this case, Jimmy Bond. John Suntress, Gabe Hardman, Jeff Parker, Ian Brill. Welcome, guys. This is a really fun episode, and I'm really glad that we chose to do this.
Well, it'll certainly be fun to talk about. I'm not entirely sure how. I mean, the episode itself maybe not so successful, but there's so much contextual shit that we can talk about that it's great. I mean, and if I could just tee up the whole live TV aspect of this, because the show was Climax with an exclamation point at the end, and it's a more sort of pulpy, their attempt at a more genre-based stuff and adaptations of. I mean, I think that the entire first season were they purchased novels and whatever and did adaptations of them. The first, and I think Martin Manulis was who later went on to be big in Playhouse 90 was the producer, but this is in the scheme of live TV stuff, this was one that was produced out in Hollywood at Television City, and there was a kind of thought to be a sort of schism between the stuff that was produced in Hollywood, the stuff that was produced in New York. The New York stuff was smart and thoughtful and intellectual. The stuff out in Hollywood was dumb shit like this, right? And so or at least that's the way that's like Rod Serling quotes that I've read basically portrayed it like that.
Frankenheimer too. I was watching his oral history interview that people can see at the Emmys website. They're YouTube videos, and you can find clips under the comment TV Legends. But if you want the full interviews, that's where you go to get them. And I adore these things. I mean, I've been poring over these things for years. Sure. And Frankenheimer went over. Oh God, and now I'm blanking on who it wasn't. I can't remember the producer, but essentially, the producer's like it was a different episode of Climax. And the producer's like, this is a piece of shit, and I'm not doing it. And Frankenheimer's like, yeah, it's a piece of shit, and I'm not doing it. And the overlord at CBS like, well, guess what? The producer has a track record. We'll let him step aside. You work for us. You're doing it, and deal with it. And I'll next time we talk about Frankenheimer, I'll specify which episode of Climax it was. This is the third only episode.
Yeah.
Climax.
Yeah. This is only the third one. The first one was an adaptation of The Long Goodbye with Dick Powell in it, and he had played Philip Marlowe in Murder My Sweet, and and it's a weird thing because in my research about this, there's this apocryphal story. So much of so many things about live TV are these kind of apocryphal stories about things going wrong, right? And on the air, and apparently. This is that first one. Sometime there was a point where people would attributed this to Casino Royale before the Kinescope was rediscovered, like in the 80s or something, right? Like people hadn't seen this in a long time. Right. And but there's a thing about The Long Goodbye where people claim that that the dead body gets up and walks away at one point during the show, right? But the thing is. That's one of those things that people say, and it's on Wikipedia and stuff. But in my more serious live TV research, nobody mentions this, right? So, I feel like this is probably just another one of those things that people like to say. But I don't think that show exists out there either. So I'm not entirely clear. That said, it was well reviewed in the New York Times. It was, the pilot was, or the first episode was considered like a success. And then by the end of the season, every fucking show had been trashed. Like everybody, they hated critics hated the first season of Climax. And but audiences liked it. Audiences like dopey stuff. So that's
this one for like 4 seasons, I think.
Yeah, it did. So there were 4 seasons of it, but I mean, it was a popular show. But and this is a very early one. But what did you guys think of it? What did you guys think of the actual episode?
First, before we tear into it, what was it a thing that it was often broadcast in color, even though there's
I read that as well. That the show, the whole show was shot in color and in theory broadcast in color, but the only things that exist are the black and white kinescopes, the 16 millimeter black and white prints. So we can't see that, or at least they don't for most of them or something. I think there may be some color episodes available out there.
Also I know that another show like Climax called Danger, which was a big Sidney Lumet show, that was the first CBS color show. I didn't realize Climax was, but I'll take your guys' word for it.
I read that, and I think I read it in one of the actual books. So that seems like a pretty safe bet. But that said, we can't. They're all just the kinescopes that we're looking at. So that's maybe the show had a more interesting visual look to it in color. It might be a flatter thing because we're looking at the black and white.
True, and this is kind of reverse, where again, like you said, Gabe, it was produced on the West Coast, and I'm assuming the kinescope was sent east because I assume so.
I don't really know.
Yeah, but again, thank God somewhere there were pack rats that were hanging on to these things because really, look.
Thank God for Barry Nelson. It was lost for so long.
Yes, because then he got to have a career and not have to have this thing hanging around his neck.
Isn't this an unfortunate moment that I was able to find? And essentially, Barry picks his nose through the entire hour of Royale metaphor.
There's all kinds of weird hamming. It's strange.
It's apparent. So, I mean, the quotes from him were that he hated doing live TV, right?
Yeah,
and that he was very uncomfortable with it, and it shows. Like, I don't think that he does not come off that well in this.
Well, let's cut him slack and at least at the very beginning point out this is the same guy who was terrific in The Shining. He's
absolutely he's in Airport. He's in a bunch of stuff. He's not a bad actor at all.
Tremendous character.
No, he's just horribly miscast.
Yeah.
But in fairness, I really kind of feel for him because he had never read, the book, and how could he? Like the thing was only really printed in America the next year.
Yeah.
Only like 4,000 copies. So there's no way he would have seen it. Nobody in America had any opinion on who James Bond was or how. And clearly nobody in charge told him how he was supposed to act.
So, well, and also I think that it's just that there wasn't a sense that James. I mean, there was just no sense of what James Bond even was.
No, they're just maybe it's hard boiled. They don't know,
right? Well, I mean, this is jumping ahead a little bit, but in the when different producers and screenwriters tried to develop Casino Royale as a feature after this. Like the first round of it with the screenwriter Lorenzo Semple Jr., who we all know from the Batman TV show, he was, he took a shot at this thing, and they literally took Bond out of it and replaced him with like a sort of, Lucky Luciano sort of gangster character. I mean, people didn't see the James Bond character as the iconic thing that we see now. So there's a bit of unfairness to looking back on this and going, oh, he's not playing that iconic character. Well, this wasn't an iconic character yet. And a lot of people who looked at the material didn't even see him as a valuable character in the scheme of this thing.
Just imagine Barry Nelson seeing Dr. No in 1962 and finally getting a sense of what it was he was playing.
Yeah.
Doing that.
I'm guessing you guys know too that really the American appeal of Bond, 2 factors. One, Playboy magazine excerpting, I believe, From Russia with Love.
Right.
And also when someone had asked then President Kennedy what his favorite novels were, From Russia with Love was on his top 10 list.
Right.
And
this is always this.
kind of
This
And
always
John,
gives
you
me-
know he said Rusher.
Yes. And I'm sorry, but I've read Casino Royale, and it's an entertaining book, but like this gives me a little bit of pause about JFK. This would be one of his favorite books, right? I mean, it's like,
it's smut. It's lurid for the time, lurid kind of pulp. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's an entertaining book. I mean, but particularly the Bond character is just despicable in the books, right? He's just a racist and misogynist, homophobic nightmare.
Welcome to the 50s. Sorry,
yes. But I mean, but I think that more so. I mean, it was exaggerated. It was more than just your average 50s stuff, because it was button pushing. It was out to make people take notice and get a little uncomfortable.
Absolutely. Ian, you've been very silent. Any opening thoughts?
Well, I've got some research actually. I recently purchased.
Oh, excellent!
The oral history James Bond. Can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody does it better. But
I'm going to get out my Bond encyclopedia.
All right,
check Ian on everything.
Yeah, this is our Bond book club. So we're very high on live TV, obviously, here in Kaleidoscope world. I can tell you who's
I think it's called Kinescope. Just
Jesus Christ.
But go on.
I see stars.
Sorry, I'm more. See, all right. You know who's not very.
But our show about the '60s is going to be called Collapse.
Yeah. You know who's not a fan of live TV?
Mark Altman. Oh, Barry Nelson.
Barry Nelson.
Oh, tell us what he said.
Yeah, please.
This is a quote from him. I don't know where they got this quote because he died in 2007, but somewhere it says, "Casino Royale was done live, and live shows are never fun to do. I did an awful lot of them, and I can't say I ever really much enjoyed it. You never had enough rehearsal, and they changed things, always at the last minute. Then they'd always be too long and come slashing down frantically with a pencil and always change many camera positions. So you were getting, largely, a mechanical performance, except when there was an intimate scene that hasn't been touched. Those times you could enjoy." So Barry Nelson, he's blaming the process.
Meanwhile, everybody else in it's really good.
Yeah, everybody else is fine. But I mean, probably to a degree, the production and the script, I think, are is fair to to argue in this. I mean, it's not the paciest thing in the world,
No, but I think there are some good lines in it. It's the same people who wrote 39 Steps.
Well, one of them is Charles Bennett. So he wrote, he worked with Hitchcock in England. He wrote 39 Steps. He wrote Sabotage, the First Man Who Knew Too Much, which also had Peter Lorre.
Peter Lorre.
And then one of the American Hitchcock's foreign correspondent. But then, as his career went on, he mostly worked in television and Anthony Ellis, the other writer, was basically just a TV writer. And I don't know that they actually worked together on this. It was a little unclear, but I think maybe Ellis is rewriting the Charles Bennett script or something. I mean, I don't think that, and I mean, there is good stuff in it. I think that in a lot of ways, what it is just about the pace and not being able to keep it going. They had, the book is limited in that it's mostly takes place at the casino, but the fact that they have 3 sets or whatever, and and they're doubling these sets over and over again is, it's gonna it limits your ability to open it up and have scope, especially for something that's supposed to be exciting. That very first moment where we see him, where he's walking in the door of the casino and somebody pulls up to shoot him and he kind of awkwardly stands behind a pillar and then the squibs just go off, it's the least dynamic thing, and I think dynamism is what we're lacking here.
Well, why he's wearing a jacket to look like a waiter instead of one of the guests at the hotel, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's why I wish there were a color thing of it. And I know it's storytelling wise, it's to make him stick out.
Yes, yes.
But
Yeah.
he looks like a chucklehead waiter.
Well, and then I mean, really, the one guy that obviously does shine in this is Peter Lorre.
Yeah.
I think this is a fantastic Peter Lorre performance, and wonder if that writer that had worked with him before in Man Who Knew Too Much and the others was almost like there to provide good Peter Lorre dialogue, because it really is a great kind of classic Peter Lorre role. And I do love this post-film television period of Laurie's. You know, I mean, I know he made shit like the Raven and the Terror. With,
Wait, what are you calling shit, John?
Yeah,
those are awesome. They're hilarious. But that's what I mean. I really think as Peter Lorre got older, he just kind of leaned into it. Yes, I'm an indistinct Euro trash. I am here to screw things up, and sometimes I'm funny, and sometimes I'm menacing. And he does a great job. I love that clip that I forgive me, but I mean, I do love that clip that I used. I just grabbed it from the show of him with them at gunpoint and everything, and just that kind of classic, come, Mr. Bond. I hope you enjoy it just as much as I do.
Yeah, he's a real Bond villain from the get-go.
Right. I think that's like if we're looking for things that do get that Bondian sort of tone, Peter Lorre does. He is a sort of he is a good Bond villain. Like I mean it, and certainly if this had a little bit more room to and a little bit more energy, it would be even more so.
Look at the great mugs on these guys around him too.
Yeah.
Boy, what a goon house they had. I love it, man.
Absolutely.
It's not like now where everyone is just a slightly less good looking leading man.
Oh my God, I know.
Playing a character. Man, they had some faces. It's great.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. No, look at that. Jesus. Look at the bag. Holy shit. Get the bellhop for those bags. My God, why are those men carrying those bags?
And I like what of course throws you if you come in and you're just a Bond person or whatever is the way Felix Leiter is now Clarence Leiter.
Yes.
Yes.
He's British.
So they've switched countries, even though he doesn't seem British.
No, it's an Australian actor.
Yeah. He doesn't seem that either. I don't know what he seems, but he does seem very espionage and worldly.
Right.
And way more in his element than Bond.
Yeah,
even though he's go ahead.
If you took that still and you asked like somebody who's playing James Bond, you'd say right.
Absolutely. I mean the whole the whole Ian Fleming James Bond thing is that he looks like Hoagie Carmichael, and that I mean this guy looks a hell of a lot more like Hoagie Carmichael anyway.
Absolutely. Well, and also again, poor Barry Nelson is just like a block of wood, and everyone else is leading into their Euro trash kind of accents and everything else, and it's like, nice to meet you, Mr. Leiter. How you doing?
Yeah,
I'm Jimmy Bond.
And they also always say
guy that wandered in.
Yeah, they also everybody always refers to it as he's a CIA agent, but within the show, he's a combined intelligence agency operative or whatever.
I bet that's one of those political things that standards and practices are like, you can't say CIA.
Yeah, I mean, political in that they just wouldn't let him. I mean, that was one of those things that we saw even in the Outer Limits, where they would have those invented things, and they came through just changed them because they couldn't clear a real agency.
Absolutely. And then we have
Berlin becomes Valerie, I think.
Valerie Mathis, and Mathis is the name of another character.
Yeah, but Mathis is his French point man.
But in the book, isn't that it's yet a different Mathis from the one that's in the movie, correct?
Well, and just in the Daniel Craig 2005 Casino Royale. Yeah, Mathis is the power that is supplying the money and everything. They combined Mathis and Vesper Lynn into Valerie, whatever.
Valerie Mathis, yeah.
Oh, that's Valerie Mathis, of course. Because I'm sure I would love to be a fly on the wall when they're like, Vesper Lynn. What kind of name is that? I don't know. Make it Valerie. That's a V. All right.
John, did you get that the paperback art that I sent you and the?
No, you have to. I'm so sorry, Jeff.
I'm sorry. Why? How come you can send me the link to this in the Twitter DMs, but
guys, we're having a production meeting on this.
No. I understand. Parker every week he's on will send me an email, and I always forget to go, Jeff, just like text me to check my email right before the show.
I put it in a different place every time. It doesn't matter where I put it.
I'll find stuff while we're talking. Go ahead.
It's on Twitter. It's in
the DM. I saw it.
Well, bully for you, Gabe. How does that help me? I'm teasing.
Well, anyway, they follow up on the TV show, and they refer to him in the text on the back as Jimmy Bond, and it's all very hard boiled sounding. And I think the name of it was they changed it from Casino Royale to what was it? You asked for it.
Yeah, you asked for it. Hold on 1 second. I'll have the image in a second.
And because they didn't, this is another classic thing. Like Americans won't know how to say Royale.
Sure. Yeah. Right.
Everything's about how stupid we are, and it just drives me nuts.
Totally.
But also, look,
we'll come back to the
freaking, mask mandate is coming back in Los Angeles County. We are stupid, right? Like, I mean, people can't even get the fucking vaccine. We're stupid. So we also can't pronounce Royale. It's fine.
Yeah.
We don't know what the Northern Lights are. So it's Golden Compass and, it's all
right. But, I just wanted to mention that Linda Christian plays the Valerie Mathis character. She's kind of interesting. She's actually in if you take a look at the extras on the Daniel Craig movie Casino Royale. There's a kind of interesting little documentary about the Fleming writing the book, a little bit on this TV episode, and then kind of tracing the history of how the property Casino Royale kind of like snaked its way through all of these rights holders until finally they were able to make the Craig movie. But she's in it a little bit, and she was sort of like an international character. Her father was an oil executive, and like she was born in Mexico but grew up all these places around the world and spoke all these languages, and and a lot like what we're saying with Peter Lorre. She's she's technically the first Bond girl, and she fits. She's pretty good as that, and it's pretty good casting.
I can see Wally Wood looking at her and thinking, I am going to draw her in everything.
Yep. Oh, also, she was also married to Tyrone Power at one point.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Jesus. Very cool.
That's a good fact.
Yeah,
absolutely, man. I will have the image momentarily. Again, I have to convert it.
Yeah, and I just have to give credit. To be fair, my mom pointed out to me that she was married to Tyrone Power. So my mom came through with a certain amount of research.
Linda,
yes.
Absolutely. Linda, one of our regular viewers, and not just because Gabe is her son. She enjoys the context. So that's terrific. That's great, man. Here, it's just popping up. Hang on, guys. 2 seconds, and it'll be there. There it is.
It's fun to see. My friend, Professor Ben Saunders, the Bond academic, who I often appear with at shows.
I love that.
Loves to roll this out and show that this is what Americans first saw James Bond.
True.
John, do you mind reading the Wild Weekend text?
Sure. If he hadn't been a tough operator, Jimmy Bond would never have risked a weekend with a woman who used her magnificent body as a weapon to destroy him. But it was toughness that landed Jimmy his job with the Secret Service, the job of smashing the ruthless LeChifre and his spy network. So, no matter how many women tried to stop him. And then the pull quote is from, is that Reuters? I'm assuming
Boston Post. A superlative thriller replete with elegant, enigmatic women, explosions, torture, and sudden death.
Thank you, Gabe. Absolutely.
And they make it out like he's up against an army of women. But if you look over there at the right, you do get the TV show ad.
Yep.
Well,
presented by Chrysler.
Indeed. Chrysler, makers of Plymouth, DeSoto.
Exactly. The Imperial.
Yeah, they have like 5 different makes under the.
Look how Barry Nelson gets third billing too.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, and but it is a full hour of tense drama direct from Television City, Hollywood. So
that is true. Yeah. And again, I love that some of the hour shows would start at the bottom of the hour, like 8:30. I wonder what was the lead-in.
Yeah, what the hell came on before?
I don't know.
Apparently they went through a whole thing of like half-hour shows is what they were trying to do for quite a while, and like half-hour dramas didn't work, and so they I don't know exactly what was programmed in front of this, but doing this hour-long at CBS was kind of a reaction to their experiments with half-hour shows. So it does seem funny to me though that like New York would be the place where everything they were experimenting with the camera and doing really dramatic stuff and exciting stuff, when you would think that the technicians would be here in Hollywood, right? And Television City is this big, a big like production facility. It's right next to the farmers market. I've weirdly never been in there. I guess because I've never been to the Price is Right, but which is the main thing that they I think still do there.
Yeah,
because
that used to be my hangout. Like, because I lived by Miracle Mile, and I would always go hang out at the farmers market and sketch people and whatever, eat. And of course, Bob Barker would come over wearing sunglasses, like somehow you wouldn't recognize he's Bob Barker,
right?
With his silver mane.
And there are always people there with the tags from.
Everybody came in with the tags.
Yeah,
and they'd all flood over, and you had to hurry up and get lunch before all the Price is Right crowd let out. Now
those people aren't going to be able to make up their mind for what they're ordering, right? Like they're from God knows where. They're
Ocala, Florida.
Like Barry.
You know what kind of backs up what Ian was reading?
In line at the farmer's market right there. Exactly.
Maybe he's got to get that catfish and eggs.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
To back up what Ian was saying from the quote, it does sound like, it seems several times in the show that they're trying to go back and plug holes that they've noticed throughout the show. Like the fact that no one can agree on how LeChifre's name is said.
Yes.
So they suddenly kind of write in. I swear they must have written it in when he explains. Oh, some people say shipper, but
it's like he gives a sort of dictionary definition.
Yeah, I was a number after the war. And,
right.
Chief means cipher and blah blah blah.
Yes.
Yeah,
B things. I'm going to answer this. I wonder if they stopped assuming Americans were stupid and ignorant of things outside the U.S. Would Americans actually be aware of more things outside the U.S.? The answer is no.
I don't know.
I'm sorry.
I don't know.
I don't know how to break it to you, man, but most of the country pretty much into sniffing their own armpits and really have no interest in, I ain't American, so I don't really understand it. Good Lord, God bless my father. But I can't tell you and he was a fan of the Avengers, the British TV show. But half the time I'd be like, Dad, let's watch something on PBS. I can't handle the British accent. I'm like, it's English, for Christ's sake. Come on, Dad. Anyway.
Didn't you know Diana Rigg hosted Mystery for a while there?
Yeah.
That's a great, would have been a great lead
that was
for
a
your
good
dad.
run.
So
Alistair Cook, even. Good Lord. Go on.
Just going back to the show a little bit, one of the things about the adaptation is that I thought was actually slightly bold was that the notorious thing in Casino Royale is the torture part, right? And
absolutely,
clearly the way that the torture works in the book, certainly, and even in the Daniel Craig movie, is not going to play on 1954 television.
I don't think so. It's a beautiful show.
But I thought that it was admirable that torturing him was still something that they did and still something that they went for in it, even if it wasn't.
It's all about pliers and toes.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Mr. Bond. We have towels nearby to wipe you off in case things get too intense here in the bathroom.
Yeah.
We can't call it a bathroom because it's 1950s television.
I just put him in a bathtub.
Although, my God, at the very end there, when he actually has an action moment where he takes out that guy, it is just it's the clunkiest thing imaginable. Like they made no effort to just. I mean, granted, it's live. It's tough to do something like that. The real actors doing it on camera live, but my God, that was clunky.
And then they have the shooting of LeChifre.
Oh, excuse me. Go on.
Off screen.
Yes.
Yeah. And I don't know if they were hoping to make that a mystery where you wondered who's going to walk out
Yeah.
or something. But then, of course, Bond just strolls out like he does everything else. Like,
Right.
yeah, and
Yep. Just got him. All right. I was going to point out this is the first Bond gadget on film.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The silent gun. That's a gun.
Cane gun.
And in case it wasn't clear enough, as he's loading it, while they're listening in on the conversation between Valerie and Jimmy and stuff, when he shoves it in Jimmy's back, and he's like, "This is a gun, Mr. Bond, just so you know." And yes, I'm pointing it at your back.
it's not a cane. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then when Leiter does it to the other guy just doesn't get it.
Right.
I'm like, did you not read the script? It feels like they're winging it right there.
Okay, so if the torture thing is the bold, interesting thing about Casino Royale, everything about Baccarat is not okay, right? Like,
oh man, it's there's the torture for us, the excruciatingly long Baccarat.
The fact that, like every adaptation of Casino Royale that has to grapple with this, like that the game is a central part of the plot, and that, and it's just, that is a little torturous, because I mean, you just don't, I mean, even when they made it Texas Hold'em or whatever in in the 2006 movie, it's never going to be that engaging following other people play cards, and it's something you can read in a book, and my God, do they go into it in the book. But
I would say that in the Cincinnati Kid and in Rounders, movies that revolve around card play and stuff, I think they are effective.
Yeah, there's a little more character-based movies, and Bond is a cipher. All the other characters are ciphers. It's not, it's about people being cool and literally, and being, and not showing emotion, and not being, it's not like these are developed characters, like, not in a bad way. Like, that's what it is. That's the, but like, it's not like they're developed characters who then are going into this situation and we're with them and we're with the emotion of it. It's all very cold anyway. So like getting it, I just feel like always those sequences of the card playing, and it's the most effective in the Craig movie, which I think is a great movie. It's my favorite Bond movie, right?
Absolutely.
But because he gets poisoned in the middle and has to go start his own heart back up in the car.
Yeah, well, maybe that was a little bit of
jumper
filigree
or whatever.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, but yeah, look, they're just trying. They're like, holy shit, we're gonna have to have something exciting happen. We're gonna have to break up this game with exciting bits in that movie, and which is fine. I mean, I think that was the right thing to do. It still has to be a central part of it. So
yeah, have it cry blood.
Yeah, no one knows how Baccarat is actually played. So
look, Jeff, it comes out of a shoe. That's what I know.
Exactly. Oh, I should have taken a picture of William Lundgren, our producer narrator, that starts off with the shoot and everything. This is really the only fun, memorable, I think, moment in the '67 David Niven film, and that is Peter Sellers and Orson Welles. And there's a whole story behind that they hated each other, and several shots were made with reverse mirrors, so they didn't have to be in the same room.
Well, let's just for the sake of it, tee this up a little bit and what that movie is. I mean, after this, this live adaptation of it, CBS had just bought it just for that. Then another producer got a hold of it.
Charles Feldman.
Even before Feldman,
excuse me, please.
And who tried to develop it with Lorenzo Semple Jr. And that went through many iterations. And then Feldman got involved. The original producer died. Feldman got all the rights. And, Charles Feldman was this kind of legendary agent who then got into producing and was apparently the most chaotic, spending producer you could get. He made What's New Pussycat, right? And, which was a giant mess of a production that spent way too much money, but it was also a hit. And he had the Casino Royale rights. This was after the Eon films had already started. And so Like it was already, and then they ultimately felt like they couldn't compete. Like he tried to get all sorts of people to work. Like he was trying to get they were trying to get Howard Hawks to direct it. Which is, in that little documentary on the Casino Royale, Blu-ray or whatever, it's like, some talking head guys like Howard Hawks would have been the perfect, director for James Bond because blah, blah, and it's no, he wouldn't have. Like Howard Hawks made movies about like there were tough guys in them, but they were people, I mean, he didn't make movies about like ciphery sort of, action hero guys. But so ultimately they just gave up on this idea and made a spoof movie, right? An unbelievably chaotic spoof movie with 4 different directors and, no central idea to it apparently at all. Although I'm going to admit right here, I mean, to doing a certain, a certain lapse in my research, because no matter how hard I've tried, I've never gotten all the way through this movie.
Me too. Never. I rented it in high school, and we were just like, my friends and I were like, "What is this? It's
Jeff,
not a movie."
all the way.
Yeah.
You watched it all the way through, haven't you, Jeff?
I have always wandered out of the room before it was done. Yes.
Wow. All right. I have seen the whole film.
So, John, you're the guy. Tell us about this movie.
Well, honestly, much like, and forgive the comparison, but like the Monkeys movie Head, you cannot take it seriously as a linear movie.
That was a good take, Gabe.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can appreciate that. But what you have to do is watch this film in vignettes and accept it as, all right, there's 3 or 4 different stories going on. They try to connect them, but they fail. So just enjoy the scenes for what they are. And what it is this really interesting pastiche. It also, and forgive the comic book comparison, but it's kind of like when Bob Haney and the other Silver Age writers of DC would try to tap into the current milieu of
Teen Titans.
Yeah, okay.
And just try to understand the teen culture and in this case, the swinging London culture. And
so you mean embarrassing is what it is. It's old guys trying to be hip.
Yes, but it's funny. It's weirdly funny. Good Lord.
Okay.
Fraction and I, well, hold on. Matt Fraction and I love these terrible Sammy Davis, Peter Lawford films called Salt and Pepper.
Yeah.
Where
Richard Donner directed one.
There you go.
Yeah.
Richard Donner. But yeah, they, it's middle-aged men trying to be hip, and it fails miserably. And they're wearing their Nehru jackets, and my God, here's Barbara Boucher with David Niven. David Niven, I mean, it's a shame because David Niven would have been a tremendous James Bond, and there are a couple other 60s spy movies that he made that are Bond-esque, and certainly.
Yeah, although I think David Niven he doesn't have like that kind of hardness to him. He doesn't have. He's a light, a lightly comedic actor in a lot of ways. And,
Well, he's a
that's how he carries
like
himself,
in Bedtime Story.
Yeah.
And also more in line with the Roger Moore James Bond, who became
that kind of makes sense.
And stuff. Yeah, man.
So, but I mean, I think that Peter Sellers in this movie. Peter Sellers is in this movie, right? And Peter
Absolutely,
Sellers is great. I mean, for a guy who made very few great movies, he's always great. And he carries the screen. Like it's just that the material is terrible, right? There's nothing going on there that's actually funny. Totally. So it's a little bit of a disconnect in the entertainment value there.
Yeah, and again, I mean, no, these scenes with Orson Welles, specifically even the Baccarat scenes,
and he's playing LeChifre, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and actually, there's Ursula Andrews as Vesper Lynn,
right?
And there's a couple,
but she's a millionaire who does something. I don't know.
No, she's another British agent,
right?
And, I mean, obviously, she's there for the memory of Honey Ryder from Dr. No, right? Mm-hmm. Honey Ryder. I know it's Honey; it's her first name.
You're right.
So again, there's just like these little moments, and also we get. Did I upload the picture? Yes. The infamous Woody Allen as Jimmy Bond. Here's another Jimmy Bond with I forget her name. This is it Dolly Levy or something? I'm gonna look up her name. Wonderful Indian actress that was a beautiful femme fatale, not only in Casino Royale but even in one of Dean Martin's Matt Helm movies. I mean, again, there are Barbara Boucher is fantastic in this movie. Honestly,
okay. And look, John Huston directed the opening segment of it.
Yes.
And
this movie has like 5 directors, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it really did.
Rug, man.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, Val Guest,
Val Guest,
who
yeah.
directed part of it, who was a great director after a fashion. But like, yeah, and it is just a puzzle. I mean, I get it, I get appreciating it, but it's just a very puzzling movie to and it wasn't a success either. And yes, Burt Bacharach also did the
And Herb Alpert.
Yeah. Oh, right.
That Herb Alpert theme song is. I mean, you've heard it a million times.
Yeah.
I've used it on Word Balloon. It is such a great, much like that Quincy Jones music they use for Austin Powers. It just really evokes that swinging era of the 60s.
Soul Bossa Nova, I think it's called.
Yes.
That's the Quincy thing. And this is just the Casino Royale theme. You've heard it.
It's my alarm clock theme.
Is it really?
And it is funny that
it's a fun way to wake up, John.
The one thing about it is that all the way through, this kind of very iconic sounding music keeps coming up, and you're like, oh wait, this seems like it should be something, right? Because this music, right? But
and also the Dusty Springfield hit, "The Look of Love."
Yes,
the '67 film as well.
That's right. Yeah.
So, yes, and Stephen is correct. If you do purchase the DVD of the '67 Casino Royale, it does have the Climax show as an extra. Very true. Absolutely.
And you could just watch it on YouTube. And
that's true too, as we did. So Michael was wondering what our each of our members of the panel's favorite Bond film was.
Go ahead, you guys. I think I already said.
For me, it's Goldfinger. I feel that's kind of like the text, even though it came later on. Like once that happened, it felt like that's when they hit upon what a Bond movie should be. I feel like every Bond movie after that, or at least until like the 90s or so, was in the shadow of Goldfinger.
No question.
I genuinely do really like Dr. No. I was to start at the beginning, but to me, one of my favorite thing that we always talk about in other things that are unrelated to Bond, but it always comes up. My favorite Bond moment is his fight with Robert Shaw on the train.
Great.
Yep.
Amazing.
Red Grant. Yeah.
It's still one of the great all-time cinema fights.
Yeah. Absolutely. I totally agree with that.
Because it looks like a real fight.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. I think that I said that my favorite was Casino Royale, the Daniel Craig one, but like certainly up there is From Russia with Love, particularly for that Red Grant fight on the train, which I just think is awesome and kinetic. And it has Robert Shaw in it. Robert Shaw was amazing. And Robert Shaw had that ability to play, a heavy who you look at and you're like, well, that guy's also read a book, he has something, there's something going on there, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and according to some Sean Connery book I had years ago, apparently, if it's to be believed, Shaw was too rough on the thing, and Sean Connery came out of the whole thing pissed because he got hurt, and he wasn't planning on it. He didn't complain to Robert Shaw, of course, because he would have got hit some more. But that's I think why the thing is just so kinetic, and they're slamming around, and they're like, "Wow, this doesn't feel choreographed. It feels like they're trying to kill each other."
Yeah,
all those reasons are why From Russia with Love is my favorite movie, because as Ian is right, the template became Goldfinger moving forward, but the sophomore movie was the proof of, no, we know what we're doing. And it's such a great Cold War story, and everybody, Lottie Lenya is amazing in it. Everybody in that movie.
She's great. They're her little shoe knives.
Absolutely, the end, man. And again, there's a great surprise at the ending when you think everything's done, and all of a sudden there's one more fight. But yeah, Robert Shaw, who, if you dressed him differently, easily could have been James Bond himself.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, Red is like one of the great villains that literally goes toe to toe with James Bond, and you believe it.
I also like the beginning of From Russia with Love, because
amazing.
Bond is finally actually doing his job.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's there to assassinate somebody. It doesn't work out, but he's there to kill somebody.
Yeah.
Now, I love the fact that it's not just, Bond, the Americans have botched something and we need you to come in and put it all right again, or whatever. It's like, no, Bond's in Russia. He's going to kill somebody.
Yeah. So I also just have to put out there that On Her Majesty's Secret Service is has
great,
probably
the gorgeous one,
the best looking one, the best editing, and some of the best action sequences in any Bond.
And I think the clearest story. I mean, and really, I always say I'm the Father Flanagan of James Bond, where there's no such thing as a bad Bond.
Yeah.
I include
okay, sure. Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, I'm not
that the others were, but he's in one of the best movies and capable.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, there's a lot. I mean, I'm certainly not as I've watched all of these movies. I've watched them multiple times, and I'm still kind of not. I don't love them for some reason. A lot of them are really long and really slow. But but I think that kinetic action stuff in On Her Majesty's is really, is really worth taking a look at. I worked on Inception, which heavily referenced that movie, and certainly I heavily referenced that movie in the storyboards that I did, and some of that seemed to have gotten through into the movie. So,
in your deepest dreams, Hardman, you think about having a gunfight on the snow. That's what you dream about.
Yes,
who doesn't?
That's only Christopher Nolan dreams about that.
But God, the colors in that movie are so good. And I'm back to talking about Secret Service.
Yeah.
I could stare at it. I could just leave it on playing all night. It just looks so good.
Absolutely.
And all those ski scenes are just amazing.
So good.
And that fantastic second, forgive me, Gabe, because below the line stuff better than I do. I'm assuming second unit.
I live below the line. Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, indeed.
I've never made it above the line.
The guy, the silver medalist skier that shot all those ski scenes, that guy was so instrumental in making that movie so great, and literally is skiing backwards, or whatever, to capture these shots of Diana Rigg and George Lazenby skiing. Although we know that Diana Rigg is actually like riding on some sort of like kind of bicycle on skis, so she doesn't actually have to physically ski herself with the poles. But those shots, I believe Willy Bogner was his name, and he was this like Swedish like silver medalist Olympic skier and everything that became this incredible second unit cameraman. And again, it's not. All those bonus documentaries on all the Bond DVDs, you gotta, if you haven't watched them, are so fantastic.
Well, he narrating. He absolutely killed on it then.
Yeah.
Hey, Timothy, I'm sorry if you missed the start, but of course we're doing this not only on Facebook but on YouTube as well. So hey, after the fact, join us at the beginning and enjoy the lovely conversation as we wonder at the incredible acting of Barry Nelson. Here he is, picking his nose.
Do you know what occurred to me like halfway through watching Barry Nelson's performance? And this is mean, and I don't mean to be mean, certainly to someone who's no longer with us to defend himself. But here goes. I halfway through I realized what about his voice was annoying me, and it's like, when Richard Pryor or Eddie Murphy do their impression of an uptight white guy, he sounds like that. That's his actual voice.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is... And for him to be James Bond, it's just like... For him to be anybody, but...
That's
James
right.
Bond,
Let me explain Baccarat to you. You got to get to 9. And it's like...
Everybody's so worldly and smooth. Yes. And then... He's like the guy who just wandered in from Iowa on a trip on a cruise.
And also the idea that he's going to explain how Baccarat works and that he's the to anybody like this guy, like I know this guy can't play that game. I just look at him,
I'm surprised he could pronounce it.
Well, I don't know a lot about Baccarat, obviously, but I feel like they changed the rules a lot in this because the croupier barely does anything, and LeChifre seems to be controlling the way the game goes a lot of the time, just to keep it on Lorre.
Well, you can buy the bank and essentially be, the house while you're playing Baccarat. I've watched it in Vegas a few times. I've watched Pygao as well, but the other international card games. But so I mean, and again, Maybe to a degree. Because you're right. In like, for instance, the I'm trying to get the picture. In like the 67 Casino Royale, there's the shoot. The right there in front, right there, next to Orson Welles' hand. Yeah, you're right. The dealer does kind of take a little more control. But I mean, it's all right. Peter, you got Peter Lorre for an hour. Let's use Peter Lorre.
It would have been a good time though to cut to Valerie making expressions so that we knew whether this was a good hand or not.
Yeah,
something. I don't know.
But that's the thing about live TV. Not a lot of cutaways. You can't.
And you only got a limited number of cameras, and you got and a couple of those probably have to be traveling to the next place, right?
Couple live gaffes. They, for instance, when one of LeChifre's henchmen has a gun to lighter, or is about to put a gun to lighter. First, he reveals the gun, then he covers it again, and then he reveals it again. So there's that. And then there's a sound drop where Lorre is talking after they've captured Bond, and the mic isn't there. And so there is this, at least the version I saw, and they pick up, and it seems to be a live mistake of, oh shit, we don't have Lorre's mic on. Hold on, let's pot that up a little bit. Let's get that sound right.
Yeah,
and I have no idea. He's saying something about Americans. I'm not really sure what I was hoping to catch it. If I watched it.
Yeah, that we're idiots, I would assume.
Yeah, exactly. Again, that if it's not in their own culture, they have no idea what it means. These stupid hillbillies that we're dealing with. Absolutely.
When they do the whole bugging Bond's room thing and they crank the music way up,
you're waiting for. All right, let me talk to you while the music's really loud. And
he starts talking louder. It's like, why is he not whispering?
I know you're an enemy agent, and I know you're trying to set me up. Duh. Oh, Jimmy. That's how you get in. That's how you wind up in the bathtub.
And then again, they have to kind of cover it over with Lorre going, "Oh, these music lovers," or whatever he said. They also do a come around and fix with when I feel like they felt like Lorre needed to also explain why getting a check would do him any good. I'll just say that you signed it over to me.
In their defense, that is actually in the book.
Oh, okay.
That is in the book.
I don't remember that, but
it's during the torture. He's like, "Oh, we figured out everything." It's like, did Fleming put that in case anyone called him out?
Possibly. Yeah, like bank wouldn't, any reputable bank would not check on that. Did you sign this over? Like it is.
Especially with
many million francs.
Yeah, especially when Peter Lorre's in your teller line. I happen to have 87 million francs. I just happen to have it on me. Sorry.
Yeah. What if that bank teller saw M? They're not going to trust him.
Yeah, no kidding. Look, every damn movie, M, Mad Love. I mean, like, anything this guy was in,
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's Peter Lorre. Security, get over here. What's going on?
Lorre's so great. But M is great. For people who didn't have to watch it in film class or sought it out on their own, go watch him. It's so good.
Oh, God, yes.
Also, if you like the song "The Hall of the Mountain King," you're going to hear it. It's got everything.
No, and it is interesting. And Gabe, as you touched on, that journey from this adaptation to finally getting to Broccoli and Saltzman and the great series that United Artists produced. And as far as the rights to Casino Royale go, they didn't make it to Eon until Broccoli and Saltzman were long dead because they didn't get the rights until 2000. That's right.
They ended up with being split between United Artists, which is the studio that did the main Bond series up until the 2000s, and then it was the split between UA and Columbia Sony, and so like it took until the Sony ended up acquiring the rights to the Eon series for them to be able to make it. So
no, and also all right, I got to ask before we wrap up. I assume November is when No Time to Die comes out.
I think that's correct. We'll see. Who knows?
I'm fascinated by.
There's apparently plenty of time to die.
Yes.
Yeah.
Without saying, but also I wonder. And we'll see how the movie itself plays out. I I mean, I know this is Daniel Craig's last movie. I know that they've already shown us in the trailers that there is a female 007 that has taken over his number.
John, don't worry. She's not going to be the next James.
Well, what I'm asking is, what does really, how does the franchise move forward? And again, we'll see what happens.
They just cast another guy as James Bond and make more movies. They've been doing it forever.
Yeah, all right.
As long as Sam Mendes is not directing, I am there.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Look,
I was there for those too, and I didn't like them. But I'm as always cautiously optimistic. It'll be something fun.
Sure. And listen, I like Skyfall more than a lot of other people did. Spectre was a failure, unfortunately, although there are good things in Spectre.
An incredible failure.
It was so
well, yeah, what a waste.
And I'm a Bond apologist. I will defend almost anything, but Spectre, I was just so mad.
Yeah,
so bored.
Ideas. I mean, and to waste Christoph Waltz that way, what a perfect Blofeld. And boy, and by the way, you got to spend an extra $100 to get that kind of perfect Blofeld in the when you're at Casino Royale or whatever. So,
I got to give it to Daniel Craig to have to try to figure out the expression to give when someone tells you that they're your brother, you should remember, but you don't, and you're just sitting there. I mean, he looks like, what am I supposed to do with this information? You know, it's like, yeah, that was not a good call. Sorry. Surprise siblings are always bad.
I agree with Jeremy. Yeah, Chris Bautista was one of the best things in Spectre.
Oh, the world's most boring car chase.
Yeah. Oh my God, that car chase was so painful. It was so boring. Like I love car chases. That's like my favorite thing, and it was so boring.
I swear they stopped for a red light.
Yeah,
somewhere in there and just wait.
All right. But we're all cautiously looking forward to the final Daniel Craig James Bond.
I'm going to the theater.
We'll see if we die or whatever it's called.
Again, you know, I bought the Hot Wheels DB5.
You asked for it,
and it has bullet holes in the DB5, which is fantastic. So I'm like, yeah, you had me at hello. Michael Cooper, yeah. He's right. Spectre was a disappointment. But B Things, I remember watching them in film history class. It was one of the first sound movies we watched after a whole semester of silence, and it was a breath of fresh air. Sure, Fritz Lang.
It's great.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we did it with this. The next week on the what's it called? Kaleidoscope? No, Kinescope.
Kaleidoscope.
We're gonna be covering The Comedian, right? The Mickey Rooney, Rod Serling written, I believe, John Frankenheimer directed. Very exciting, interesting Playhouse 90. Which I think it's a Playhouse 90. Yes, it's pretty like one of the most dynamic things I've ever seen, pieces of television I've ever seen. And it's live, it's energetic, it's got all of the the exciting things about that, and a really smart script, and it's a behind the scenes of show business thing. And I highly recommend that you watch this for next week because it's great.
Sound good.
A triumph of live television in a lot of ways, and also if you're a fan of television variety, it's really the dark side of it in terms of Mickey Rooney's character and an all-star cast, and truly like the least likely guys to pull off incredible dramatic scenes. Mickey Rooney and the Velvet Fog himself, Mel Torme.
Mel Torme as his sad brother, or whatever. Yeah. So absolutely seek this thing out and watch it. You'll thank me next week, and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah, and again, you can find it on YouTube. Just search for The Comedian, and you will be blown away. It really is all of these incredible technicians, writers, directors, producers, actors, all at their best. And again, live, 90 minutes live. Very fucking impressive. So, yeah.
It's very cool. All right.
Any other final words as we wrap up, gentlemen?
Yeah, I feel bad about dunking so hard on Barry Nelson that, who's over his head. Everybody go watch his scene in The Shining as Ullman when he explains the history of the Overlook Hotel to Jack Nicholson.
And He
because
aged
he
into
actually
his voice.
delivers it and then chuckles after saying that the guy killed his family with an axe.
Well,
so good.
Barry Nelson, he was not happy with the fact that there's no rehearsals. He must have loved working with Kubrick.
Yes, those 150 takes of that.
He was like,
he was really in the pocket by take 98.
Yeah.
And also, you want a lighter Barry Nelson performance? Fantastic as Andy Kaufman's psychiatrist on Taxi, on a really, really funny episode where Latka becomes Judd Hirsch's character, Alex Rieger, and you get this great Andy Kaufman performance. And Barry Nelson's the straight man, but it really is a very entertaining Taxi episode. So look for that. So there's another.
So to the family, the living relatives of Barry Nelson, we apologize for what we've said about him. It's only particular to this television episode.
He was good.
He was a good actor.
Great actor.
We're not.
So okay. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll look forward to talking to you next week. Do your homework. Watch The Comedian before you watch our next episode. Also on the podcast feed, I'm going to put, because I'm always this big believer that if you have more episodes, you attract more flies. Mm-hmm. I will continue to put out the audio version of this on the Word Balloon feed as well, but to kind of fatten up the Kinescope feed while we're waiting to accumulate more episodes, I'm going to put on the Liberty Valance conversation we had a couple of weeks ago.
Good.
Also the conversation with Joseph Stefano about,
Dominic Stefano.
Yeah. About his father and his great work in television. And I thought that I'll even put a little disclaimer like, all right, technically this is outside of our purview, but you'll understand why we're doing it. So I hope everyone will listen to those. And Stephen is intrigued by next week's comedian episode. So that sounds great. So until next time, thanks a lot for watching, everybody. And stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy.
Well, it seems we have a few points of mutual interest to discuss, huh? Such as that check for 87 million francs. Money which was partly supplied by the French Secret Service through its agent, our little friend Valerie. Yes. Valerie Maris, agent of the Deuxième Bureau, huh? Oh, I only found that out today. Of course, you would have died at once, but I thought I hold the thread of your life over this American. Not that he seemed to care. He still put his job first.